Hey everyone, welcome to tutorial 4. This is where it gets exciting. We're going to do our first app test and finally open up Xcode to start changing around the code. So let's do this. Alright, so if you bought this source code from us at moneyfromapps.com, then you should have the Bingo Hall folder. And inside you'll see another Bingo Hall folder and then this freebingo.xcode proj file. So click on the project file and that's going to open this up in Xcode. And so if you don't have Xcode, you can get it from the Mac store, which is right here, the App Store, on your Mac, and it will be free. So just get the most recent version. Now when you open it up, it might look a little bit different because I'm not sure what page you're on, but we'll get to that in a second. The first thing that might pop up is that it might ask you to upgrade the project. If it does, don't upgrade it. We just want to leave it as is. We don't want to make any changes to this source code. So after that, we're just going to jump in and start renaming things. So if you look at the very left in this column, you're going to see the project and it says free bingo here. What we're going to do is click on it and then click on it again on the name and it should turn blue and we're going to rename it to the name of your app. It doesn't need to be the full name. I would do a short name here, and even though there's a space in this one, generally it's better not to have spaces, otherwise that can cause some issues. So just try to go with a short name here. I'm going to put in bingo for free, all one word. And then when you hit enter on that, it's going to ask you if you want to rename the project content items. We do want to do that, so click on rename. Now also when you do this, it might pop up asking you if you want to create a snapshot. And in general, I like to do snapshots because Xcode kind of saves as it goes along, and snapshots will take like a snapshot of where you are at a given point in time if you make a big change to your project. So I like to keep those, and if you ever have to go back, you can choose which snapshot you want to look at. Alright, now that that's done, if you look in the top left, it still says free bingo, which isn't the name of your app, that's the name of the original. So what we're going to do is click on that and go to manage schemes, because that's what this area is, it's the scheme. And what we're going to do is hit the minus sign at the bottom, so we're going to delete this scheme, click on delete, and then click on the plus sign to add a new one. Now you'll see the name, it should reflect the name that we just typed in earlier. So we're going to hit OK. Now we've created a new scheme. Now would be a good time to go to product, clean, and in general as you make changes, try to clean frequently because it'll update those changes so that they reflect when we test this. Sometimes if you don't clean, then the changes won't go through and you'll see some old stuff in when you're testing the app. Alright, so let's click on the project again in the left, and then a little bit to the right of that in this main window here we're going to see free bingo, and if you click on it there's two options, there's the project and the target. We're going to start with a project, it might already be selected for you. And then if you look along the top here, there's these sort of tabs, and there's info and build settings, and we're going to start with the info tab. So if you click on that, if you're not already on it, we're going to go down, and we're going to see it says use release for command line builds. If it's on debug, you can put it on release. I would leave it on release for now, that's fine. Now let's go to the build settings tab. If you scroll down a little bit to code signing, I want to make sure that yours says the same thing that mine says here. So if you go under provisioning profile, set that to none, and set all these other ones below it to none. And then in where it says code signing identity, make sure that says don't code sign, so you can click on this, click on don't code sign, and then all the ones underneath that, we want that also to say don't code sign. Now we're going to go into the target. So if you click in the top left and go to your target, let's start with the general tab at the top. Now the first thing you're going to see here is the bundle identifier, and that's what we created a tutorial or two ago. We created the bundle ID in the iOS Development Center, and that was the com.yournameoryourbusinessname.appname. So fill that in here and make sure you spell it exactly correct, with even capital letters need to be perfect. If you have any capital letters, make sure they're in here. If it's off by just a little bit, this whole app won't work at all. So go ahead and fill that in. And then version should match the version we put in iTunes Connect, which is probably 1.0. For build, I would also put 1.0. And everything else should be set up for you down here. It should be device orientation should be left and right for landscape. And devices is universal because it's both on iPhone and iPad. Next, let's go to build settings at the top. And in the search bar here with the magnifying glass, type in product name. The product name that we choose here is what's going to show under the app icon in the device. So for example, on your iPhone, if you have one, there's the settings app, and underneath the icon of the gears, it'll say settings. And that's what we're going to change here, is that name. So write this however you want. Usually about 12 or 13 characters will fit there, or it's going to put like ... in between. So you can shorten it a little bit, but don't make it crazy different, otherwise you can get rejected for that. So just make it relevant to your app, and I like short so that there's no ... in there. So you can double click on that, change it, and then hit enter, and it'll change. And then let's clear out this search by hitting the X in the search bar. And now scroll back up to the top. Let's go down a little bit. We're going to look for code signing again. Now this time we're going to change this to the profiles that we created a tutorial or two ago. Let's start with provisioning profile at the bottom. We're going to click on that. And what you want to do is find yours that you created. You probably don't have as many as I have here. Mine was called Bingo for Free dash, and then we did distribution and development. We're in development right now, so we're going to choose that one. And then choose it for all of these ones below it. So you can see here I have Bingo for Free dash development on all 5 of these here. And then right above that in code signing, if you click on it, should already fill in for you your iPhone developer testing account. This is a certificate actually, so we're going to click on that, choose your name or your business name, whatever's showing up here. Choose it for all of them, and they should all be the same here. And guess what? That is it. That's all you have to do to start testing this app. Obviously the graphics haven't been changed yet, so basically what you're going to get is you're going to get a test of my original app, our Bingo app that we created. So we can go ahead and test it. Now in general, I like to test on the iPhone or iPad, an actual device, because the simulator in Xcode is kind of buggy. Sometimes it just doesn't load up. So I would suggest choosing your device. And to do that, we're going to go at the very top. You see here that if you click on it, there are some options under iOS simulator. There's iPhone Retina 3.5 inch, 4 inch, 4 inch 64-bit, and then some iPad choices. And if your device is connected to your laptop or your Mac Mini, whatever you're on, you'll see your device up here. So I'll show you that right now. I'm going to connect my device. Okay, so I connected, and if I click on it, sure enough, it says Justin's iPhone here at the top. So I would select one of those, but for now I'm going to choose an iOS simulator option because I want to be able to show this to you on the screen. Also, you're going to need a device to test in-app purchases, so it's really best to get your hands on a device, an iPad or iPhone, and test on it so we can test the in-app purchases also. Alright, so that's enough of that. I want to get right to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Project Clean one more time. And then to run this on your device or your simulator, if you've chosen that, pick whichever one you want. Pick the iPhone, iPad, simulator, or pick your device. We're going to click on it there, and then you can go to Product, Run, or just hit the play button here on the left. So let's try that out. Now you might get some warnings here. I'm seeing some exclamation marks that are yellow. That means they're warnings. That's no problem. The ones I have to worry about are red, and if the build fails, then that's when we have a problem and we need to fix something. Now in general, if it does fail here, it's one little issue, and I'll dive into that in a second. But my build did succeed, so that's good. And I saw my little iOS simulator icon pop up and bounce up and down. And with iOS simulator, sometimes it takes like 2-3 minutes just to load it up. Should be way faster on a device. And sometimes iOS simulator gets stuck and won't open at all. That's why I don't like using the simulator. If that happens, you can right click on it and close it out and try again. And I'll also show you how to reset the iOS simulator settings. That sometimes helps too. Alright, it's been a minute or two. I'm just going to minimize this and see what the simulator is doing. Clicking on it. So far it's black. It's not doing anything. I'm going to give it one more minute. Alright, sure took a long time, but it finally decided to load. So here we go. It's loading up the launch screen. And there's a tutorial for when you load it the very first time. So it looks like we're working. I'm going to hit the arrow. Click on continue. And I can hear some music starting up quietly in the background, so that's great. Looks like we're running fine. And again, this is a little slower than normal. Oh, I got an ad showing up, a video ad actually. This is from AppLovin. It is slower because I am on a Mac Mini. It's generally faster on like a MacBook Pro and definitely way faster on a device. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to reset your iOS simulator settings. Like if you had a problem with it, what you do is if you're in the simulator, you should see the iOS simulator menu here. We're going to click on Reset Content and Settings, and then just hit Reset. It's going to make Xcode kind of crash here because, well, not like crash completely, but just it'll stop the running of this app just because we ended it when when it thinks we're running. So I'm going to go here into Xcode and then click the stop sign. And that's going to stop the run. And I'm going to right click on the iOS simulator. I'm going to quit out of that. And so we reset it, and then you can try running it again. So if you ran into any issues, that's one thing you can try. But again, please use an iPhone or an iPad because there just are some weird bugs in Simulator, especially with ads that won't show up in your device, but it will in Simulator. And last, I'm going to run through something real quick. I mentioned if you see an error and it turns red here, in the beginning when you're first trying to test this app, it's probably one issue. I'm going to show you how to find that. If you didn't have a problem and you're running fine, you can skip through this part and go on to the next tutorial. I'll see you there. But if you did run into a problem, I'm going to show you real quick what it could be. So what I'm going to do is go to the very top left and click on the project, and then we're going to go into the target and build settings tab. In the search box, you can search for and you'll see framework search paths, header search paths, and library search paths in this section here. Now the ones we need to worry about are framework and library. So if I double click on that, this should be set up fine for you. What we have is this source, root, and inherited stuff. All that means is that it's finding your computer and where this file is located automatically. So source root, when I take it off, it's showing my username, my desktop. So what we need to do is just make sure that yours matches this. Like where your file is located, your folder, the Bingo Hall folder, needs to make sense. Like for example, if it's not on desktop and it shows desktop here, try moving the Bingo Hall folder to your desktop. Or what you can do is go into here and change this information here to match where your folder is located. If you have any more questions on that, you can leave a question in the tutorial and we'll try to help you out. So that's it for this one, guys. Congratulations if you were able to get it testing, working correctly on your phone or your iPad. We're going to start changing stuff, so this is where it gets really interesting. I'll see you in the next tutorial.